Happy by Design, and it is Throwback Thursday. This is the first Thursday in November 2021, and today we're going to make our first official Christmas project for this season. I'm working today with Ciao Time for Home. This is a collection that came out a few years back. I'm not sure of the exact year, but because blue is my favorite color, I just fell in love with this collection right away. And I wanted to kick off our Christmas projects with this wonderful little tutorial. So today we're going to make a box card, a tea party in a box card using this paper. And this measures 5 1/8 by 7 1/8, and it has a 5/8 inch spine. I'm going to show you how to build this base in the tutorial that follows, so don't worry about that. I've decorated this up with some gorgeous Reneabouquets chipboard. I'm also going to show you how I achieved this two-tone embossed finish on this beautiful chipboard. This is a Spellbinders die. I can't remember the name of this one, but I will make sure that I have that listed in the supply list on my blog, which I will link to in the description box. So I've got a little Christmas mini ornament here, a gorgeous snowflake charm, and some itty bitty little jingle bells hidden in here in this little charm cluster. There they are. And then these are little birdie Celestina shabby chic flowers and bluebird satin glitz ribbon from Really Reasonable Ribbon. And then I just added a few little pearls. The front of this is very simple, one of my vintage buttons, and we will build the front together. The inside of this is a really fun design. These tea party in a box have become one of my most popular makes. And we've got a little flip page here with another bit of this gorgeous chipboard, a Reneabouquets Blue Jay, and then this flips open, and here's a little gift card pocket hiding right here with a little note you can write. You can also write a note in the blank part here. And then we get to the tea party in a box. I'm going to show you how to build the box pocket, so no worries there. And then I've stuck in here a little miniature wooden honey dipper, some Biscoff cookies, a little Ghirardelli chocolate with a tea bag. The tea bag is color coded. It's a blue as well. One of my vintage spoons. A lot of you ask me where I get these. You have to hunt for them, guys. Estate sales, yard sales, flea markets. They're really getting hard to find because they've gained in popularity. But there's one of those, a little honey stick, a pretty bookmark to go with the whole ensemble, and then this gorgeous note card in here with lots of room to, you could either add photos or write your own personal message. So this makes a beautiful personal gift. I mean, you just can't walk into any shop on the corner and buy one of these. They're fun to make. They're wonderful to give because people are just so surprised at all the goodies that are inside. And then once all the treats have been consumed, you can use this to store recipe cards. You can use this to store photos. You can store little bits of memorabilia in here and bring it out every year and add it to your home decor. So that's the project. Let's go ahead. Don't go away. I'll be right back and we will build this together. So this is going to be one of those almost by the seat of my pants tutorials. So you're going to get to really see my process. We're going to start out with two 5 1/8 by 8 1/2 inch panels of this blue, this wintry blue cardstock, and we're going to join these together to build our card base. I do this every once in a while because I know sometimes you guys, I get new people and they haven't seen me do this before, and sometimes it's good to get a refresher course. So I just overlapped those about 1/4 inch, and I'm burnishing it down. Now I'm going to bring in my scoring tool, and I'm going to score this at 7 1/8. So I don't have an 1/8 inch there. So I'm just going to do like that. And then I want to go ahead and do this. Let's do this at 7 3/4. Oops. All right. So then we're going to fold this. You see, this is going to be our top fold with our spine. Then we're going to go ahead and we're going to score it again. Make sure we're in the corner at 7 1/8. And then at 7 3/4. And this little piece is going to come up, and this will become our box pocket. So this is the basics. Okay, I like to always finish the insides of my cards first. I find that it keeps my cards clean. So we're going to start on the bottom, and I've just trimmed out a piece of the same pearlized white paper that I'm using on the cover. And our card width is 5 1/8. So I'm pretty sure I did this. Yeah, it's right at 5. And then the pattern paper is 4 3/4. And yes, this is short, but we have a pocket that's going to go down there. And then on the top, I have another piece of this white pearlized that I've cut to be the correct size to cover the top. This just adds extra strength to the card. These box pocket cards are kind of heavy, and I find that doing these extra layers on the inside really helps. So this one is, well, it's like 4 7/8 by 6 7/8. So 4 7/8 by 6 7/8. And then I took this piece from the 12 by 12. And I should tell you at this point, I'm working with the 12 by 12 pack, the 6 by 6 pack, and the creative pad. And so if you have this in your stash, you'll want to use all of them. If you don't have all of them in your stash, I'm sure you can make substitutes that will work just fine. But this piece with this beautiful blue jay is 6 1/2 by 6 1/2. And then I just scored it at 4 3/4 and folded this flap over. So we're going to install this right here so that it's centered. Okay, and then this is a little cut apart from, I think, the 6 by 6, but it might actually be the 12 by 12. I'm not sure which. And I matted this on a slightly larger piece of the pearl paper and of the same blue. And then I want you to see on the back, I put these little gussets on the bottom. So about 1 3/4 inches. And I'll show you why. This is kind of a fun little thing. This is going to go down here on the bottom like this. And now when this turns, you have a pocket here that you can put a gift card in. Isn't that neat? So a little gift card pocket right there. And then you have room here to write a little note. So that takes care of that. And I'm trying to see if we wanted to. Well, we're just going to leave that like that. Oh, I know what I wanted to do here. We'll get to that in a minute. Not quite ready for that yet. Like I said, this is a real process. You see how my mind works. You see where I'm going. So now to make our box pocket of this same blue cardstock, I have a 7 5/8 by 4 1/4. And then I scored 5/8 and 5/8 and 5/8 and 5/8 and 5/8 and 5/8. Okay. Then you're going to come in with your scissor and you're going to cut from the outside score line to the second horizontal score line. And you're just going to trim this tab out entirely. Same thing over here from the outside vertical score line. You're going to cut up to the horizontal score line, the second horizontal score line, and just cut this tab out completely. Now, come in and you want to cut the inside vertical score line up to the horizontal, second horizontal score line, just like this. So now what you have is this little tab. And I've flipped my pocket over and I've got the tab on the back. And I'm going to put adhesive on my tabs, just like this. And then I'm going to fold this in and glue that tab to the bottom of our box pocket. Did you see that? So this just rolls in nice as you please. You make a neat square corner, all right? And then fold your outside tabs. Whoops. Hold on, we came unglued here. There we go. And then you're just going to fold this in, and this tab is going to glue. Your side just rolls in naturally, and you just push this in. And again, you're just keeping things neat and square. I like to work with liquid adhesive. If you're using a tape runner, make sure that it's a really strong tape runner, because this takes a lot of stress. So I recommend that you use a really good strong, like a red liner tape or a score tape is good, but I wouldn't use just a standard tape runner because I don't think it will hold. All right. Now I'm just going to trim out the corner of these boxes so that they won't show. Like this. Now I'm going to put my adhesive on the back. And this is going to sit right down at the very bottom of your card. And you want to tuck those sides in. Oops. You want it flush with the bottom edge. Then come in with your bone folder and making sure that everything is square. You're just going to burnish this down. See over here how that wants to pop out? You just have to push that into place. Make sure you're even on the bottom. The first time you make one of these, it can be a little challenging, so you might want to practice on some, inexpensive paper so that you don't ruin your project. I really recommend practicing if you've never done this before, but once you've done a couple of them, you get the feel for it, and it gets a whole lot easier and you can go really fast. So there we go. That's all glued down. And then to decorate our pocket, I just cut this little piece. This is, I want to say this is again, hold on, I'll tell you. Yep, this is 5 by 2 7/8. And then I cut designer paper to 4 3/4 by 2 3/4. And then this was a little scrap on my table. I just put it up there to make like a decorative cuff, and then this decorates the front of our pocket. So this is the inside of the card. Now in the pocket, what can you put in the pocket? Well, whatever you want. If you're doing this as birthday, you can do, because this is a great winter birthday card. If you're doing this for birthday, you can put in, like pictures, photographs. You can put in treats. I like to do tea or coffee, chocolate, things like that. I made this little bookmark. This is going to go in here, just like that. And I'll show you what else I'm going to do in a minute. Oh yeah, and then I took this from the 12 by 12. Isn't this pretty with the tea? Folded it in half, and then you've got room in here to write a beautiful note or to add a couple of photos. So this goes in here like a little note card. And that's all I'm going to do on the inside for now. I'm probably going to cut a piece over the spine. So now Let me move this stuff aside. Move this over here. We're going to do our cover. And I started out with a 4 7/8, I believe, by probably 6 7/8 inch piece of this pearlized paper. And then on top of that, we're going to put this 4 3/4 by 6 3/4 piece of the 12 by 12 designer paper. And I wanted this because of the snowy branches. This was a big piece, and I cut it so that I got those snowy branches. The front of this card is actually really, really simple, but it's going to be very dramatic. Okay, so there's that. I find it so much easier to build my card base before it's on the front of the card. All right, so this is a die. This is a Spellbinders die that I cut out of that pearlized paper. Then I backed it with some scraps of this really pretty silver glitter paper. And we're going to put this down. And you can see I had to piece this together, but it's not going to show once we get everything done. This is going to go, whoops, branches go up top. This is going to go down just like this. Okay, and I'll give you the name of that Spellbinders die in the description. So these tabs fold around. Now that this is down, I'm just going to come in. This is Dry's Clear Adhesive. So that's why I love to work with this stuff, because on intricate dies like this, you can make yourself crazy trying to glue all these little filigree pieces down, but this does a great job. And I just press those in. I find it helps if I use a damp paper towel, and then I'm going to do the same thing along the bottom. Just going to scribble my glue in very lightly, not going crazy here. It's just enough to hold those filigree pieces in place. And then I just press that down. All right. Now, I found this ribbon at Really Reasonable Ribbon that I'm in love with. It's so beautiful for winter projects. It's called Bluebird. And I'm going to put this right here over this panel. And then just wrap this around the sides. And this makes for nice, neat edges, rather than cutting the ribbon and then having it fray. That keeps it really neat. Then I took this little image, trimmed it to fit the center of my die cut. I've backed this with foam tape just to add a little bit of dimension. And I inked the edges with Stormy Sky Distress ink, which I love using on winter blues. It's a really good match for most winter blues. So let me just get these liners off. And this is going to go lining this up. Just like that. And see how just that little bit of dimension makes the design come alive. Then I tied a nice big bow with this same Bluebird ribbon, and I created a little embellishment with, here we go, with a snowflake charm and some little bitty silver jingle bells. And you can see I've just layered these over this. I want this on the side right here. I don't usually do a side bow, but in this case I thought this was the best place for it. So I'm just going to put this down, and then these little charms will dangle and be so pretty. I don't remember where I got this miniature ornament. I've had these for a really long time. I think maybe Consumer Crafts, which has sadly now gone out of business. But I think you can probably get these at like Walmart or Joann's or Michael's, any sort of crafty store. Even maybe the Dollar Tree has them, I don't know. So now I'm going to come in, because I'm happy with where this is sitting. I'm going to trim this extra piece off that was on the, where I tied those pieces on. Now, look at this gorgeous collie, guys. These are little birdie, and I forget the name of them. Let me look. Celestina Shabby Chic, and they are glorious. So I'm going to take these. I think maybe this one is a bit big for what I want. I think I want this one right here. And then I've got these little tiny ones. These have, I don't know if the camera's picking this up, but these have little bits of silver glitter in them, which works so well with this card. And we're just going to build our little bow cluster right here, like this, tucking everything in. That's beautiful. And now comes the really fun part. This is maybe a little technique. You guys might be brilliant at this, or this might be new to you. This is from Reneabouquets. And these are some of these pine boughs are new in her shop. This beautiful blue jay, which what could be more perfect? This is a little trim piece, and again, I'll list all of these. But I want to show you how to alter these. This is so simple. This guy we're going to leave just like he is. We might just come in and ink a tiny bit around him. But I'm going to take an embossing. This is Top Boss. This is just an embossing stamp pad. And then I'm going to work with a piece of scrap paper here. So I've got two kinds of embossing powder. This is Wow Diamond White, which I'm almost out of. I love this particular shade. And then this is Ranger Superfine Silver. And I'm just going to show you how we're going to do this. So you're just going to take your embossing pad and get a good coverage of this embossing ink on there. And a funnel tray is handy, or a piece of printer paper. So we're just inking this up. And you want good coverage. Okay. So I'm going to come in with my Wow powder first. And I'm just going to cover these. And don't worry about it looking like you're putting a ton on there, because you tap this off when you're done, but you want really good coverage. Okay. Okay. Let me get my tweezers. Okay. So pick these up and just let the embossing powder fall off. You don't flick it, you don't tap it, you don't, you just let the embossing powder fall off back into your tray. And then you're going to immediately, put this back into your bottle. And I will often use a clean paintbrush to get all of that embossing powder out of there. And that can be used again. So see, we actually ended up using very little. So now I'm going to move this back into the center, and I'm going to bring in my heat gun. And you always preheat your gun until it kind of starts getting warm. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get my tweezer ready with my first piece. So I'm just preheating this until it starts getting warm, because otherwise, if it's not hot, you just end up blowing your embossing powder everywhere. So you can see I'm just moving this around. And you see how this is getting that wonderful sparkly diamond finish on it. It's really beautiful stuff. I love this stuff. And I don't know if you can see this changing on the camera, but when the little diamond pieces in there start to flicker, I know I'm good. So I'm just going to do this with all 3 of these pieces. Okay, so there they are finished. I hope you can see the beautiful shimmer on these. I just love this. Embossing powder is just one of the best investments you can make if you want to dabble a little bit in mixed media, because it's very, very affordable, and it just has, it does a lot. So I'm just going to lightly brush the edges of this piece with my embossing powder. I mean, my embossing pad. And I want to get a pretty good bunch in the center here, and then just a little bit on the edges. So now I want to bring in my silver. And just kind of lightly shake that over. And this I am going to flick on the back, because I want this just to be like, in fact, I can come in and remove some with my fingers. Do you see how I'm doing that? Okay. So I want this to be like an accent. I don't want it to be silver. I want it to have just little touches of the silver in it. And this will just create kind of a shadow. You can see I'm being very light with this. You can actually even sprinkle it like salt too. But you always put your embossing powder back in the canister. You put the lid on the canister and you move it out of the way of your heat gun. Otherwise, you end up with a jar of solid plastic, which is kind of a bummer. And you might be wondering, why is she using tweezers? Because that heat gun is hot, y'all. It is hot, and I don't want to burn my fingertips. So now I'm going to pick this up. We're just going to do the same thing. And again, I don't know if the camera picks that up, but it's just really subtle, but very beautiful. And it looks very wintry. It's nice for Christmas and winter projects. So let me move this guy out of the way. And to clean up these little bits of embossing powder, use packing tape. You just put it down, it'll pick it up real easy. So that's a little tip for you too. All right. So let's bring this back in, and I want to take I'm trying to decide what I want to do here. Okay, yes. All right. I've got some 1/8" foam tape, and I'm just going to cut little pieces to go on the bottom edge. Oops. To level it out. And one more. I'm going to take my adhesive. Oops, I did that backwards. It should be on the top edge, y'all. Sorry. On the top edge. Sometimes it's hard to think upside down. Okay. Okay. So put your adhesive on these that are on the bottom. All right. So we want this right along this top edge, just like that. And see those little bits of foam tape just provide stability back behind. Boy, I don't know if you can see this on camera, but it sure is pretty here in the studio. And then for this, I just want to position these like this. And I want to bring in a few of these little sparkly flowers. I'm going to tie a little bow to go here. Okay, so I'm going to put these flowers down. One going this way. One going this way. And then a third one, and you can kind of squish these together too. Going right here. And then I did these little silver bows. Okay. One there, one here. I use my scissor point to hold these in place. And then once they're dry, I can come in and move the loops around. So pretty. All right, guys. But that's basically all I had for you for the tutorial today. Now I'm going to just finish up the inside of this card. I'm going to take this branch that we made and put it right there to make the inside of this beautiful. And then we're going to take our little, where'd my J go that I had? Here it is. And he's going to rest. Isn't that great? That is so perfect. I'm going to put some foam tape back behind his body here, here. Let's see. Nope, that's perfect. That's all we need. And then I'm just going to put my adhesive on the branch. And he goes down just like that. Wow, that's pretty. That is really, really pretty, and that's such a nice finishing touch. So your little gift card pocket is in there, this beautiful wintry themed. You can use this for Christmas, you can use this for winter birthdays, you could use this for a New Year's Day card, but really gorgeous. I love these blues, and I'll finish up putting all my goodies inside. Here's where the cover will go on the top. I'm going to add a little adhesive underneath these guys just to keep them secure and in place. But as you can see, this is just a really simple card, but the elements are so, they're just so beautiful that they speak for themselves. This didn't need a whole lot. I may come in with just a few little rhinestones, or I may not. I love this just the way it is. All right, guys, that's it for me, Kathy Clement, Kathy by Design. Please give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, I would love to have you along for the journey. I try to share a Throwback Thursday once a week where we take out of our stash of beautiful papers and make something new and lovely with it. All right, thanks for joining me. Bye.